This is pre-algebra, last lesson of the entire book, problem lesson 10.5, multiplication with polynomials. We're just going to start our lesson with example 1, and they give us 3x squared times 2x squared plus 4x plus 5. Alright, so you've been doing this for a long time, and if you remember, distributive property means we take that 3x squared times each one of the terms inside of there, and we get our answer. So let's do that. 3x squared times 2x squared is 6x to the fourth, because when you multiply variables with exponents, you add the exponents. Now we do 3 times 4x, so we get plus 3 times 4 is 12. X squared times x means x to the 2 plus 1. And now we do the last one, 3x squared plus 5. 3 times 5 is 15, and there's nothing to multiply the x squared by, so we end up with that right there. Okay, so when we multiply polynomials that are grouped with parentheses, and we have something like this times 2x minus 1. That means we're multiplying this whole thing times this whole thing. And our answer is not just 3x times 2x and negative 5 times negative 1. It's a little more complicated than that. So what we're going to do is we're going to do what is called the FOIL method. FOIL, F-O-I-L. FOIL, F means first, outside, inside, and last. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply the first number in each set of parentheses. So we're going to multiply the first number here times the first number there, and that gives us 6x squared. Outside, and we'll do this in blue. Outside means the outside of one parenthesis times the outside of the other one. So 3x times negative 1 is negative 3x. Okay, so because there's nothing to multiply the x by, and we're just multiplying the 3 times the negative 1, and any number positive times a negative is always going to give you a negative, so that gives you this. Next part is the inside. The inside numbers are negative 5 and 2x. Those are the ones that are the furthest inside, the closest to each other. So negative 5 times 2 is negative 10, and again we just tag the x on there. And the last thing that we're going to multiply here, see if I can find a good color, let's try kind of an orange. We're going to multiply the last numbers. The last numbers will be the last number in each parenthesis. Negative 5 times negative 1, negative times a negative is a positive, 5 times 1 is 5. And we will always, always, always end up with 4 terms, because we did first, outside, inside, and last. 4 different ones. Now, normally the only ones we can add together are the two middle ones. So we have 6x squared, negative 3 minus 10, signs are the same. You add the numbers up and put the sign on there, and you're 5. And you end up with a polynomial like that, a trinomial with 3 terms, because you can usually combine those inside terms, the O and the I, the outside and the inside. So this is example number 3, and let's go ahead and use the FOIL method again. So again, we've got FOIL, first, outside, inside, and last. So the first two numbers are going to be the 2x and the 5x, and that gives me 10x squared. Then I'm doing the outside ones. The outside numbers would be the ones furthest from the center. This would be considered the center right in there. And those outside numbers would be 2x and the negative 4. So 2x times negative 4 is negative 8x. Then the inside, which would be the ones closest to each other, and I would get 3 times 5 is 15, and then I don't have anything except 1x, so it just tags on. And then the last one I do is the last number of each of these two. So plus 3 and a negative 4, multiply those and you get negative 12. So again, we're going to look at the middle ones because those are the ones that you usually can combine. Negative 8 plus 15 is going to be plus 7x, and then you've got a minus 12. And, oops, there's an x there. 10x squared plus 7x minus 12, and you're done. Alright, so we're going to look at some that can be a little more complicated, which is example 4. So example 4, I do what is called a modified FOIL. What I do is I take this term here. Well, actually, let's look at one using the FOIL method. Let's just look at one. Let's kind of throw that one out for just a second. Okay, the FOIL method says we take the first numbers and multiply them, the outside numbers and multiply them, the inside numbers and multiply them, and then the last numbers. Okay, so let's see what happened. We actually took this number, let me do this in orange, this number, and multiplied it by this one and this one. Then we took this number and multiplied it by this one and this one. So really all we did is we took each of the numbers here and multiplied it by each of the numbers here. And that's what we're going to do up here. So another way to write this, or to do this up here, is we're going to take the 2x and multiply it by this and this and this. Then we're going to take the 3 and multiply it by this times this times this. Okay, so when we're done, we're going to get this times each of these, so that's 3 answers, and this times each of these. So we're going to end up with 2 terms and 3 terms. 2 times 3 is 6. We're going to end up with 6 different terms here. So let's do that. Let's take 2x times 3x squared, and I get 6x cubed because I add the 1 on there with the 2 up here, and I get 3. Now I'm going to so I multiplied that times that. Now I'm going to multiply this times the negative 2x. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4, and x times x is x squared. Then I'm going to multiply this times 1. And any number times 1 is itself. Okay, now in red I'm going to multiply the second number times this one. So I get plus 9x squared. Then I'm going to multiply this 3 times negative 2x. Then that 3 times 1. So notice here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 terms here. So that means I've done everything. 2 terms times 3 terms is 6. I have 6 there. That means I did them all. Now I start combining like terms. There's nothing alike with the 6x cubed, but there is with this one and this one. So I'm going to add those. A negative 4 plus 9 is plus 5x squared, so I get rid of that. And that, got rid of that a minute ago. And I have a, let's see if I can find blue here, plus 2x minus 6x. So this is going to be minus 4x, and that gets rid of those. And I have a 3 there at the end. And that is as far as you can go on that particular one. Alright, so we'll do 10.5 B as in boy as our last lecture video. And we'll start with example number 4, which is the one we just did, but I'm going to show you another method to do that.